Now stop laughing. We are talking of disease. Are you sure you are really healthy? In a few minutes, perhaps you will not be so sure, I think. Well, I will start to say you what I will not talk about. Surprising, but I will. After, I will raise the question, are we well hydrated? And especially focusing on low drinkers. The next question will be the cost of renal water saving. It has a cost, and we will see that. And the last question will be the role of AVP. And I will ask a question, is renal water saving potentially a stress? I believe so, and I will try to convince you. Well, I will almost not talk about overhydration. It's a picture of an old torturer in France, long time ago, middle age. And at that time, they were making people drinking some 20 liters within a day. They are dying from that. And there is no fantasy. Can a usual fluid intake result in life-threatening hypoosmolality, meaning osmolality far below 280? Well, remember what we have said a few minutes ago. We can dilute up to 12 liters of water per day. So it's clearly rather a fantasy than a reality, because you need to drink so much to get overhydrated that it makes no sense to think about that. However, if you check for overhydrated people in the population, in the hospital, and in publication, we can find some things. The first thing is overhydration, because you have a non-osmotic stimulus of AVP secretion, especially hypovolemia. And this is typically the case of people taking diuretics. People taking diuretics can be in danger by a high fluid intake because they have a non-osmotic stimulus of AVP that is not suppressed by drinking more. So they can dilute and they can have a severe hyponatremia. But we know that. I mean, if you are taking a diuretic, do not drink too much. Too much is more than 3 or 4 liters per day. The second point is a rapid fluid intake. When I say rapid, it's more than a liter per hour. More than 1 liter per hour. Where can we find that? Well, in Belgium, during the beer feast, you can drink up to 6 to 8 liters within a night. It's a lot. It's too much. And then you can have hypoosmolality. It can be seen also in sport, during endurance sport, people drinking a lot to be more hydrated. And there have been some accidents that have been described in this field, but it was very specific condition with people having quite a relative hypovolemia. So you have both, then you cannot dilute so well, and then you can have a problem. It has also been seen in potomania. Potomania is a psychiatric disorder with people taking huge amount of water when they are psychologically stressed. They put their head on the tap water and they drink. They can drink more than 10 liters in a few hours and then they die. But it's so uncommon that it makes no sense for us. Another thing is a prolonged water intake every day, something like 3-4 liters, with almost no osmotic load. I mean, almost not heating. This is what we call the tea and toast syndrome, hyponatremia, that has been very well described during anorexia nervosa. But, well, they are not healthy people. They do have anorexia nervosa. They are not eating. They do not have any waste to dilute, so they are not able to dilute a huge amount. However, I can tell you, when they are in this situation, they reach an equilibrium and they stay at, let us say, 265 or 260 milliosmol. And until they change their amount of fluid intake, even if they are drinking 4 liters per day, well, they are slightly hypoosmotic and nothing appears. I mean, nothing happens, sorry. Nothing. Just they are living like that. It's not a good thing, but it's not really very dangerous unless they increase strikingly their fluid intake. So, after carefully checking until no literature has never reported any evidence of people, healthy people, being in status of overhydration as a result of chronic overconsumption only. You need to have one of the determinants that I have described here. So stop fantasy. I will not talk neither about dehydration, severe and mild dehydration. It's not my topic because in everyday life we are not dehydrated. We are just saving water. So it makes no sense to me. And there's very beautiful picture from the book of Adolf, Physiology of Man in the Desert. It's really a very nice book if you are interested in dehydration. Old book, very nice. But however, it's not my point because we are talking of what is in the left part here. Normal situation, nothing of dehydration, but however, already an impact. So go back to our scheme with your fluid content, hydration, you say here. And what happens if you start drinking for 12 hours? It happens to you sometime. You have a hard day, working a lot, no time to drink, no time to eat most of the time. You're running everywhere. So what is happening is that? Well, the last time you drink, okay, your body fluid content was okay, and progressively it decreases to insufficient hydration. And if you spend more than 18 hours, you will reach the level of dehydration around 1.5% loss of body weight. But it will take more than 12 hours, 18, 24 hours. So it's a long time, and most of the time you will drink before. So the question is, are we well hydrated in everyday life? And if not, what is the impact? Go back to the slide with the limits of optimal adjustment, which we have seen at the end of the next talk. And an optimal drinker is a guy that remains within these limits. It drinks enough to avoid challenging water homeostasis to the extreme limits, dilution or concentration. Let us talk about a very surprising kind of people. They are not dehydrated. They are just low drinkers. Well, usually it is admitted that the fluid intake of low drinkers is 1.2 liters per day. It's not very low level. I mean, 1.2 is not 0.5 liter. 1.2 is already a few glasses of water per day. But these people, during the day, so they do not drink so often, and they tend to reach the level of insufficient hydration progressively. And however, even when not in insufficient hydration, they are doing a lot of effort, challenging the maximum urine concentration. And then, what is the impact of that? And is it frequent? According to this paper by Ferreira, it could represent up to 500 million people all over the world. 500 million people. Well, it's not nothing. The questions, are they finally slightly dehydrated? So look to that very old study. I mean, it's very old, not very old. It's this previous study from Danone. It was something like 6 years ago, if I remember. They took 95 patients. Yes, 71 were either low drinker or high drinker, and they compare them. So here, the low drinker are drinking less. They have a total fluid intake of less of 1.2 liters per day. It's a total fluid intake, not only beverages. And here, high drinkers are above 2 liters per day. And they compare them. They are absolutely healthy. I insist upon that. They were not taking treatment. They were young or middle-aged, but completely healthy. And there is absolutely no difference of body mass index, blood pressure, size, weight, nothing. What is the main difference? Stupid. 1 milliosmol. 1 milliosmol in the low drinker, higher. Osmolality is just 1 milliosmol higher. In the middle of the usual value, 289. So they are definitely not dehydrated. We agree with that. They just have 1 milliosmol, and they are peeing, we will see, more than half than the other, and drinking less than half than the other. So clearly, as said by Professor Kavouras, osmolality does not reflect the sine equilibrium of water homeostasis, for sure. And regarding all the other parameters, they are exactly the same in both groups. Well, the main difference, not surprisingly, is a very low urine volume, 1 liter against 2.4. High urine osmolality, 767 compared to 370. And something else. We were looking for that, but Not sure we will find any difference. Well, oxalate is a waste. It's insoluble waste, but however, it's excreted in urine. And this is a waste that tends to crystallize. When you concentrate urines with oxalate, it crystallizes. What is very funny, in this study, that people with that are low drinkers, they excrete less oxalate per day. That's it. That's the fact. No explanation. But surprisingly, the risk of crystallization due to this oxalate is clearly increased when compared to high drinkers, meaning that they do have a risk of urine crystallization. And if they do have that, they could have a risk of doing renal stones, kidney stones disease. So is renal water saving really detrimental?